It's here for fun.
It's the Clint Eastwood empty chair.
Just want a little separation.
Yeah, totally. It's really a power move that likes he always likes an empty chair.
You don't mind if I switch?
He's like, I dare you. I dare you. Sit in the empty chair.
Is everybody ready with their devices and everything recorded?
Interviewers ready.
Okay, you'll have about 25 minutes, so I'll just let you know once it's getting close. So we'll do one question at a time, and just kind of follow down the line. So Kevin, if you want to start.
Wait, I thought it was at the end. So this film takes place in 1980, and it's dripping with nostalgia of the rest that remember it. But I believe none of you guys were alive at that time. So what's it like working on this film with so much nostalgia? And did any of it resonate? Is there any like early memories? You're like, oh, I remember that song, or my parents' clothes.
I was actually born in 1965.
Man, you made it well. Blacked out crack.
Yeah. I actually got an endorsement with L'Oreal.
Before they were even L'Oreal.
Exactly. That we created it. No, I'm sorry. I mean, Rick is he's like a time machine. I mean, you can he took us back there and he was like, oh yeah, well this song's coming out around this time in April. You know, it was playing on the radio 3 times a week. And, you know, we only wore these materials. Those materials didn't come in until 81. It was like, you know, he just was so smart about everything that was the time period. So I mean, it was, and the fun was the same. So like, it never felt like, oh man, like 1980, we're all, you know, millennials, or we're, you know, we've never have lived this time period. So yeah, I mean, just testament to Rick on that.
Still very much part of the culture.
Yeah.
You know, that time period is, as far as music and clothes and, you know, art goes. It was a time where there was a lot of shifting. It was changing the guard in a lot of ways, you know, between, and that's what Rick was trying to encapsulate, is like, you have a kid who's like going from high school to college, and his world is kind of shifting, and the world in politics, the world in music and art and clothing, sexuality, everything was kind of shifting. And he was trying to encapsulate that, but like, I think that a lot of those things that we're talking about, the music, I mean, when MJ comes on the freaking, on the club, people go way more nuts than they do with like Drake. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I would say that like it's a lasting period, and I think it was a really, really fun, exciting period. And I think that's why Rick wants to revisit it. I think that's why there's so much nostalgia for the area, because it was truly great. It was fun.
One thing that Rick does really well in all of his stuff is he captures this authenticity about the way people relate to each other and the way they interact with each other. Like, you know, even though I was born in 81, like I can still look at this film and see the way these guys hang out together and the way they talk and stuff. And it's like, I can see myself and my friends in that. How much of that is present on the page, and how much of that is just you guys getting on set and kind of getting that camaraderie built up?
We fostered, that was all fostered before, 3 weeks before on Rick's farm. And we went out there and there was just us and Rick and a playground of like creativity where he's got this amazing library. It's sort of like there's like a cool mud hut, and he's got a library, and then he's got this sort of spaceship Flintstone looking house where one wing of it is an entire like, you know, game room. And so that location fostered our relationship, where he'd be like, all right, now you gotta go swimming, you gotta go play ping pong, you gotta go do this.
Like, oh, Dad?
Yeah. He was like a camp counselor in a way. And for the first 3 or 4 days, and then once it was structured and we figured out how to navigate the farm, those relationships he allowed to foster within ourselves. Like, he didn't go, okay, you're friends with this guy, so you really gotta like buddy up. He just sort of let it organically happen. And because of that, and because of who he cast as people, like Rick doesn't just cast actors, he casts human beings, he casts people. And for this, that was really important. And through the casting process and through us getting to know each other on the farm, that was truly the reason why the reason why you feel what you do. Yeah.
Why Alex never interviewed? For legal reasons, these are group interviews. Because it has to be other people in the room.
But yeah, that's the energy that you feel in between the moments are truly because of those 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly think that this movie would not be I think that the movie's fantastic. I think it's fantastic because you can feel the connection between all these guys. I think that there's a genuine love between all these guys, and that time that we spent in Rick's library, he's probably one of the few guys that is a huge library. He's read every single book in there. Yeah. You can ask him about any single book. There's nothing with Rick is presentational. It is authentic. Yeah. You know, he's truly we call him Wikipedia because he does know every single an aspect of 19 was like. You can ask him. We were talking about music, and we're like, "Oh, what about this like Blondie song?" He's like, "Nah, it came out in '81 September." That's not going to work.
It was a Wednesday.
Yeah, it was a Wednesday in September. And it's just he's just a truly his process is the magic, I think, of Richard Linklater. Is he lets the process take place rather than trying to over control the process, which I think a lot of auteurs do. You know, they tend to like go, okay, you know, and I've never worked with Wes Anderson or Quentin Tarantino. I'm sure their process is different, but they have a flavor. Rick's got a flavor, and I think his flavor is finding order in the anarchy. Right. In the chaos, finding order in chaos, and that's I don't know. Somehow he and this is truly chaos that he seemed to wrangle.
Yeah.
So I know that this was your first time in a feature film. What was it like for that first time to get to learn from someone like Rick?
It was the best master class I think I could have taken. I was studying musical theater at UT 2 years prior to doing the film, and I think I was getting ready to take a film course that fall semester. And I'm glad I did this film instead of taking that film course. I didn't get
probably worked out.
Yeah. I wish I could have got some like college credit for that because I went back to school the next semester and then subsequently left because my program was taken away. But I just wish I could have taken that and been like, work out some kind of. We don't have to go to school this semester, and it goes to the degree plan. But yeah, it was absolute treat.
Well, of course, this film's got a lot to do with baseball, but you guys also did a lot of dancing.
Yes.
So you, with your musical theater background, already had some dance moves, right?
They did.
I mean, by the way, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Watching him dance, like all of our takes. I mean, we're like 2-3 minutes and we're gassed. He's like going for like 10. They're like, all right, we ran out of film. Reload the mag.
So was it more challenging to pick up the dance moves versus the baseball, or were they both really difficult for you guys, or maybe they were easy?
Notice you don't see me dancing.
You got that little move going out of the club. You got this little snap thing. You got
one move by myself on my own.
It was good though, man. You nailed it. You only need one move.
Well, we would only have 1 minute. That's right.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's the rehearsals. You can tell them about the dance.
I mean, the dance rehearsals. We would go in every morning and we do 2 hours of baseball and 2 hours of dance rehearsals, and then at least 2 hours of each. And we would have to do the Cotton Eye Joe, which I never picked up. Two-stepping, which I would say that I was okay at. And then the Saturday Night Fever dance was kind of something that we had to learn. And, of course, I had never seen anything like that. Quentin was awesome, and Ryan and them were awesome. But that was a tough part that took us up until the very day to figure out.
I mean, you watch guys like I would watch Tyler do. He would kind of do he would work the bases. As Tyler played in college, and I'd watch him like, dude, that's a dance. Like you're dancing out there. It's like, yeah, man, it's just part of the movement. So I mean, when you're an athlete, I feel like you have to have coordination, and that's what my teacher used to tell me in college when I took musical theater dance. Is like it was so much easier for me to start learning how to dance because I came from athletics in high school, because that coordination is it's all the same.
But Rick talked about that like now, I mean, a lot of sports teams go out and everybody's like kind of too cool to dance. Like it was kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like they'll come over here, kind of thing. Right. Back then, it was like an era of like fun, And he said athletes, when you went out, like you took over, like you danced, and you ran the dance floor. And it's just not. He said that was kind of a. Do you remember when he talked about that? When he was like,
yeah.
He was like,
we just talked about it the other day. It was like athletes used to be like a little more outspoken, a little more like political a little bit more. But now, like, everybody's got to protect a brand. Everybody's got their social media presence. It's a different world, and they weren't getting paid $40,000 a year. It's like, fuck, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Cut me? Who cares?
Yeah.
Oh, it's back to me already.
No.
Oh, no.
Thank you, Kevin.
Damn it, Kevin.
I'm here. Okay. One of my favorite scenes was it was just so fun to see you guys in the car with the Rapper's Delight going. That was great fun. I mean, I'm sure you guys had a great time with it. How fun was it? And had you ever heard it before?
You know, Rick talked about that song is now become a joke. He's like, he's like, that's an awesome song. He's like, it's the first rap song. He's like, and now people like, it was like with the grandma and like, wedding singer.
That's right.
He's like, it's now, he goes, it's now become like kind of a parody of itself. He's like, that was the coolest song of the time. You know, it was the first rap song of its time.
13 and a half minutes.
13 and a half minutes. And Rick was like, so when we were, what was the song originally though?
Oh man, I don't even remember.
It's like a Donna Summer song, I think. We were originally supposed to sing that in the car. And then on this CDs, this group of CDs and this iPod that Rick gave us, we all loved Rapper's Delight so much. And we started singing it. And then Rick's like, oh, love that. That'd be great for the car seat. Learn 13 and a half minutes and we'll figure out what we'll do. No way. We got like 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. I mean, it's loaded with ridiculous dialogue, and it's all the same.
Super sperm,
Yeah.
Chicken taste. My dad actually used to listen to it all the time when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. So Rick was like, "Oh yeah, let's start learning this thing." Like I started going through it, and subconsciously, so much of it was still in my memory. I was like, "Oh my god, I haven't listened to this song in 10 years. I don't know how I still remember it."
Yeah, you had it before anybody else had it.
It's like I say, it's just locked in subconsciously.
I remember the look in everybody's eyes whenever Rick said to memorize the whole thing. And I remember seeing Quinn. Quinn was like, "Yeah, I got to do Quinn and Ryan. I remember Ryan's face.
I'm a realist. I was like, "There's no way. No way." Yeah. By the end of the movie, maybe, yeah.
It really worked. It was great.
Yeah, it was really fun.
All right, so Brent.
So, the film is basically a whole lot of young male philosophy and young men trying to find themselves and everything. And your character Willoughby gives some very good advice that, I'm trying not to give anything away with the story arc, but he says, basically to be yourself, and that's when you really start having fun, and that's something a lot of people don't realize until they're much older. Mm-hmm. So, based on Willoughby's story arc, is his story tragic or inspiring?
It's like a confronting question.
Well, I was
no, it's good because it's an awesome question.
When you answer, don't cry.
Yeah, I'm like, when I was playing hockey, when you're a young kid and you're playing a sport, you are so engulfed by that sport, and you have horse blinders on. If you're any good at it, and you've got a shot at becoming something, you have to put these horse blinders on at like 15, 16, 17, because that's when things get real. And if you aren't able at some point to get those horse blinders off, then you're missing the point, in my opinion. And so when I was 19, 20, I got injured very, very badly. And that was the first time I ever realized, like, holy shit, there's another world out there, because I might not play in the NHL, when it looked like I was going to. And I was out for a season, and I took that year to kind of, like, reflect on who I was for the first time, because you just don't do it in sports. It's just not something that you talk about. It's not beneficial to the game, unless you have mentors and people that have, like, a higher conscious ability than you do, that are older and have been through the wars. And when I was 24, but the year before I got hurt, I was like, fuck it. Like, I'm not going to do what these people tell me to do all the time, because constantly living for somebody else, trying to play the game, if you don't have your own freedom inside of what you do, no matter what it is, you're going to be stifled by other people's ideas of what you should be. So when we were talking about that scene, that came up for me. And I thought it'd be a fun thing to impart some of the stuff that I had learned in hockey, and my life in sports on Jake. because it was, and he was I won't give anything away, but because of what he is, he looks back on it and goes, let me just let you in on something, because this is what life's about. Because you're probably not going to go play. And that's the other thing. You're not going to go play in the NHL and Major League Baseball. There's 1% of you that's going to go do that. So if you don't realize that now, inside of the game, it's going to take you 25 years to learn that in real life. And that's a lesson that only sports can give you in certain ways, in a microcosm like that. And so that was really fun to be able to actually say that succinctly for the first time in my life, publicly in a weird way. Kind of got a lot off my chest.
Well, and you and Rick workshopped that whole bit. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Rick's really open to that, but it was really cool. We'd be in the game room, and I'd get to watch Wyatt and Rick hunched over Rick's laptop, kind of going back and forth on that whole speech. It was great. Yeah, it's like my favorite moment I think in the whole movie is that whole smoking section.
It was awesome, man. It really was. It was fun to be able to talk to somebody who does movies. Who can translate directly from athletics, because that spoke to all of us. Mm-hmm. It was a true way of accessing things in the film that you wanted to be able to say that we thought were important. But you can do it through athletics because I know how to do that, and that was awesome to be able to talk to somebody who understood you that way.
And Rick truly is an intellectual, but he's a jock. Yeah. And you forget about that because he's made so many of these thinky movies over time. And then you talk to him about sports, and you're like, oh shoot, he's he's Wikipedia with sports as well. And he's he truly understands the game and he understands competition. And the idea of at a certain point in sports, you're going to have to leave that dream behind. You know what I mean, or at least transform it into a different definition of it. Yeah, I think getting to spitball with Rick on ideas of the world and philosophy is probably the best experience. I have all these voice notes on my phone of Rick and I having breakfast, and where we just spitball about things, because there was this whole speech that I gave Jake at the end of the movie that got cut out that was basically a philosophy of finding order in the chaos, essentially, and transforming your universe and kind of wrangling what you think life should be. And I have all these brilliant things that Rick says on my phone. It's the guy's a genius. I just love that guy.
Yeah, so you guys had the film premiere at South by Southwest. I mean, that's Rick's home turf. So going to Austin, Texas, being in a Richard Linklater movie, showing the film to an audience for the first time, how did that feel for you guys?
I don't think it could have been any better of a situation, especially for the Texas guys, but for everybody, really, it's the perfect situation. Rick, Days of Confused, Austin, Texas. I mean, there's no better situation to put us in, and it was kind of great to be able to show it to all the hometown fans, kind of thing.
You can't really fail in that market.
You can't.
We could have put anything up on that screen and been
yeah, it was kind of on a tee.
Yeah. No, but there is something about Rick is the mayor of Austin.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's an icon of Austin, and I think there is. I thought Days of Confused was kind of a love song to Austin in a big way, and I think Everybody Wants Up is very filled with Texas energy and Texas swagger. So I do think we made one hell of a movie, but I think we made a movie that was also very personal to us, and we workshopped it so much, and everybody we're all in this group text that we still talk about the movie all the time. We share funny videos from filming and all that stuff. Yeah, but it's a really personal movie, so sharing it. Rick told us keep this moment that you're having right now, lock that film experience in of all the great times that you had while making the movie before we show it to the world, right? And if South by, I think, was a great validation of what we did, because we finally got to show it to the world, and they were like, "Fuck yeah!"
I know the movie's kind of been dubbed as a spiritual sequel to Dazed and Confused in a lot of ways. Did that kind of factor into how you guys approach the movie at all?
I don't think so.
Yeah, no. I mean, it kind of had the same atmosphere, but besides that, I don't think it.
You're aware of it.
Yeah.
But, I don't think it. Rick never said anything about it, so that was
I never heard one person say the word
Dazed and Confused the whole movie.
Yeah, it just wasn't what it was about.
We're making our own movie.
Yeah.
It's just tonally very similar. If you like Days of Confused, you're gonna like this movie.
Yeah.
You know, but I think early on in the process, Rick was just like, "Yo, like, if don't ever try to do a Ben Affleck or Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
Just be you.
Yeah. It's gonna go down.
We're making our own movie. Yeah, totally. Some guy shows up.
You will be fired.
All right. Yeah. Actually, there is Buter says in one scene, all right.
Does
You
he?
hear
No
that?
way.
No,
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he got away with it. I don't know how he snuck it in there.
When?
I think it's when he's telling Jake to like he's got to sleep
right.
upstairs.
He's like, all right.
And he's like, all right.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, so we don't have the same
I was
tone
like,
at all. Okay.
I saw it in the last screen. I was like, that son of a bitch.
He hit it well.
Yeah, no, he understood. He didn't try to do it like McConaughey.
Right.
But I was like, did change up in there.
Well, how did you guys actually get involved with the film and with Rick? Was it something that you guys saw your agents gave you, or did Rick reach out to you guys? How did that all come together?
It was kind of. I mean, it varies because I didn't have an agent or managers or anything. I heard from my professors at UT. I was going to school, and they told me they knew the casting director in Austin, and so they told me about the initial call, and then from the initial call on, it was just call back with Rick, and we did our skills videos, and lo and behold, I was there.
We actually met each other at the very beginning of the whole process. Mm-hmm. We got to go in and read the script for the first time. Mm-hmm. And then when we got cast, we just freaked out. Being like, what? Dude, you're
I saw you at the production office and Tanner Kalina, who plays Brumley. It was, there wasn't like another guy there. Rick was just meeting with us three that day, or at least during that time frame. Mm-hmm. And it was so cool to then, a few weeks later, see both of them back at the ranch. So
crazy.
It was originally called "That's What I'm Talking." That's what I'm talking about. God, I'm like, that's what everybody wants. So. Sorry. So it's all becoming blurred. That's what I said. That's why it's all here. It was actually one of the first scripts I read out in Los Angeles. I moved out to Los Angeles like 7-8 years ago, and Rick's been trying to put this thing together. My agent put it in front of me. Yeah, my agent put the script in front of me and was like, "Dude." And I remember reading. I was like, "I want to play Finn."
Right.
Like back then, and I was there's no way I would have been cast though. I was like, fresh off the boat. I was like, it's like 7 years ago.
Had you done Fast Food Nation yet?
Yeah, I did Fast Food Nation with Rick a long time ago. I was like 16, and I actually broke my arm like probably a week and a half, 2 weeks before filming. And I had to call Rick and be like, "Hey, I broke my arm. Please don't fire me." And Rick was like, "Oh my god!" I was just playing like a high school kid who, who worked at a fast food restaurant. He was like, "Oh, dude," he's like, "There was always some kid in high school in the cast." He's like, "Yes, only Rick." So, yeah, well, because like I said, some directors like hold on to their vision so tightly, right. And he's a guy that he sees the truth in life, and if you break your arm. That's life. Yeah, right. There's always a kid that broke his arm in high school, and he saw that. And so then, I saw that script like a while ago, and then I'm so glad it took him so long to get it together because I think this is the perfect mix. And I think this team wouldn't have been assembled like this, 7 years ago.
Yeah. All right, we have to wrap it up now.
This is the last question.
Last question.
Last question.
Yeah.
One more. Okay. Did any of you do any improv, and did it stay in the film?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, it was improv. But it was all done before. It was all done like in the rehearsal process, and the best hits were put in, and then there's bits and pieces here and there.
Because when we do our longer monologues, like Finnegan has a lot of monologues, Willoughby has monologues. I have a couple of spots in there. He would you'd have your chunk, and then Rick would always say, even on the day, it's like make it as natural, put it in your voice. Even after he would rewrite. Like I know a lot of the coverage that I had on the monologue, like when we have lunch after practice, a lot of that stuff were things that I was just trying to naturalize in the moment. So.
Yeah, the improv mostly came in the 3 weeks of Rick's Ranch because he gave us the script and was like, "Guys, just play with this." And so we got to just improv and play. And I actually have a weird story about that. All these guys, everybody got a email saying, hey guys, just play with the script, and, just do whatever you want to do with the script. It's just kind of a guideline. And so we were all sitting in the van driving out there, and everyone's like, so everybody got that email, right? And I'm like, and then so the guys, they start talking about how cool the email is.